question for you guys.
Oh,
Look,
sure.
Gummy bears, yum, right?
I love gummy bears.
I
And
love the red.
I was wondering, can we do something cool in science with gummy bears?
Oh my gosh.
Let's-
Yes.
Yeah.
We've
do
been
this.
doing all sorts of stuff with measurement this week.
Okay, maybe we can measure something about our gummy bears because
Sure.
this is just something we have all the time.
Yes.
And I would like to know if the gummy bears are soaked in some different solutions, maybe they can grow bigger or shrink
And get smaller.
and see if that's true or not.
So we want to know if they're going to change size. That means we need to know what the size is to begin with.
Okay, let's do that.
Okay.
So how are we going to figure this out? What do you know about trying to figure out the size of an object? We have to know the length.
Okay.
We should probably see what its mass is.
Mm-hmm.
And then how about how much space does it take up? What's that called?
That's the volume.
The volume. Okay, well let's do
Perfect.
that. All right,
Find
do you
some
want to
measurements?
start first with
So-
I see Miss Hamby has a ruler over
Yeah.
there. That's one of our metric
Okay.
tools.
And the rulers have two sides, most of them. You'll see inches, but we don't use inches in science. We only use the side with centimeters, the metric side. The centimeters, they're smaller than inches. About the width of your pinky, the top. That's one way
That's
to
right.
remember
It's not very big.
how big a 1 centimeter is. Okay? So we're gonna measure Mr. Bear. He is the star of our
Star
show
of our
here.
show today.
Star,
Yep.
Star Bear.
And I'm gonna lay him, I'm gonna hold this up first. He's 2 centimeters according to this, but Miss Sweeney might have noticed something.
Oh yeah, I want to know why'd you measure them that way when I could stick them this way and measure them just like this?
You don't do that.
And then he's
because-
not 2 centimeters anymore.
It's
Right.
a different measurement. Why?
Huh?
Wonder why
How'd
there's
that
a
happen?
space there. So you
Ah.
don't wanna start at the very end. You start right where the first line is.
And that first line is what? 0, right?
Right,
Mhm.
0 is at
Yep.
the line, not at the, there's a little space.
That is super duper important because a lot of people want to start
At the
right
end.
there and then their
it's not-
measurements get wrong
Not accurate.
every time.
So we said that the length of the gummy bear is how much?
2
centimeters.
2 centimeters. Got it.
Okay, now we're going to find the volume. Volume, that's kind of tricky because you have to use more than one kind of thing to measure this with.
I know.
Okay,
So I think when I remember in math, I learned about volume. You know, volume is for 3-dimensional
Mhm.
objects, things that take up space.
Yep.
And so, for example, with this is a rectangular prism, I know the formula is length times width times height.
Okay,
And so what would that be for that box?
well, let's see. We have 11 centimeters by 11 centimeters
Mhm.
by 13 centimeters.
We've got our 3 different.
And so we multiply that, 11 times 11 times 13 gives us 1,573 centimeters cubed.
Cubed. Yes. Now let's talk about the cube for a minute.
Yeah.
A cube is something that's going to show you a measurement that takes up space. So if you remember back in elementary school when you used your base 10 blocks and you had those little tiny itty bitty yellow squares, that was exactly 1 cubic centimeter. Believe it or not, if we filled this box up, we could fit 1,573 of those little cubes in this box.
That's amazing.
It is amazing. It's just hard to believe, isn't it?
So does that mean that there is a formula for finding the volume of a gummy bear?
No, no, no. This is a problem. The gummy bear doesn't have a length, a width, and a height. Because the gummy bear is, you know, he has a little face. He has his little arms, and he has his little feet.
So he's not regular?
So he's irregular little shape. So, you know, have you ever filled up your bathtub and filled it right up to the rim? And it was all bubbly and sudsy and you're ready to jump in, and then you got in and what happened?
Oh my gosh, it just flows out onto the floor.
And then what'd you
Yeah.
have? A big mess to clean up?
Yeah.
Oh, it's kind of
Lots
like when
of
I
water.
filled my glass of water and then I put ice in afterwards.
Oh, yeah.
And it just made a mess all over the counter.
So all that water that spills out believe it or not, is the exact same amount of volume that was put into the tub.
Wow.
So we're gonna put our gummy bear in a little green tub inside a graduated cylinder. And if you can look and see what that is exactly, because I don't have my glasses
So
on.
when we look down at the meniscus, we see it's 20 milliliters.
Okay, little gummy, you ready for a swim?
We have.
Are you
20
ready?
To start. It's 20.
Here we go. It's gonna happen quick. Y'all watch and see what happens. Bye-bye.
Ooh, so it looks like it's going up to 22 milliliters.
22 milliliters. So we started with 20, and now we have 22.
But wait a minute. I thought volume was cubic centimeters.
Well, cubic centimeters, 1 cubic centimeter equals 1 milliliter. They're the exact same measurement.
Okay.
It's just one is a liquid form and one is a solid form.
Okay, so if my water was displaced, it went from 20 milliliters to 22 milliliters. That's a difference of 2 milliliters.
Yes.
But we don't want to say 2 milliliters for the volume of the gummy bear.
No, because a gummy bear is a solid.
Okay.
So we're going to just take this that we know, since it was 2 milliliters, and just change it to 2 cubic centimeters. So there you go.
And centimeters cubic centimeters for solid objects.
Right.
Yep.
3-dimensional.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right? 3-dimensional.
because that's what our gummy bear is.
Yes, it is.
Until it gets in our stomach and we eat it, and then all
And it
the,
just-
yes. Okay, so let me get this gummy out of his tub.
Okay.
Goodbye, gummy.
Well-
Let you out.
While you're doing that, Ms. Sweeney, I'm going to look at this gummy bear and think about, finding the mass. But first, let's talk about what is mass. Mass is the amount of matter that is making up an object. So this
Oh.
gummy bear has mass.
I know, mass is not the same as weight.
Oh, wait a minute. So if I were to weigh myself here on Earth and I weighed myself up on the moon, wouldn't I weigh the same?
Nope.
Well,
No, she wouldn't. She'd weigh a lot less. I want to live on the moon.
Right.
That would be great.
Because
because
why
why?
is that weight different?
I don't know. What's the difference between here and the moon?
Gravity.
Gravity.
That force we have on Earth is
Pushing us
gravity is
around.
not on the moon.
But
It's
you're
much
still
less.
the same person.
I'm
You're still
still-
going to be your same self. So that's how you know that that's the mass, how much space you're actually taking up.
So this gummy bear would weigh different on the moon than it does here, but its mass is still exactly the same because it hasn't changed. It's just a gummy bear.
It's just a gummy bear. It's
All
going
right.
to stay a gummy bear.
So I have a triple beam balance here, and I have it calibrated so that it's starting with the pointer at 0. All of my riders, these are riders, are at 0, and it's ready for me to put the gummy bear on the pan. So when I put the gummy bear on the pan, notice that
Ooh, look
the
at that.
pointer goes up. Now, when I measure with a triple beam balance, I typically want to start with the heaviest rider, which is in the middle. And so I'm going to go over one. That's way too big because our goal is to get it to point to 0. And that's too big. So now I'm going to come back to that. This represents the hundreds. This is the tens. So 10 grams, let's see.
Ooh,
Oh, that's way too
still
much.
too much.
So I got to put that back at 0. So I'm going to come to the ones in the front. And I notice that there's numbers 1 through 10, but there's these little numbers in between, and it looks kind of like when I look at a ruler. So what do those numbers in between represent?
They represent the tenths of the gram.
Tenths of the gram. So let's
Because
see
it
what
says gram on there.
it does. So
See down there, it says gram.
oh, I got it. Okay. So we're going to start sliding it, and we want this pointer
You need a pencil to help you?
to get down to
I can't
0.
do that with my finger.
I don't want my hair to get on there.